Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome. Good morning. I'm Charlotte Smith, and we are just starting our broadcast of our webinar, 3 Steps to a Profitable Farm, and I'm about 5 minutes early, 5 minutes before 10. I'm here as people are logging in. So if you're watching the recording later, know that it's about the 5-minute mark that I actually will start teaching. So excited you're here. If this is your first webinar, and I had a lot of people email and say it was their first webinar, it's very exciting. And also know that at any time, something can go wrong because it is live. And sometimes we didn't have anything go on yesterday in the webinar, but I don't know, 6 months ago or so, it just froze up in the middle of the webinar. Just hold on, stay there if that happens. And yay, we have people coming on, so people joining us. So welcome everyone, good morning. Please, love for you to tell me where you are, where you're from, where your farm is. We're chatting for a bit. I'm gonna start right at 10 o'clock my time, which might be different wherever you are. Yay, Tennessee, North Carolina, Christine from Michigan, and Leah from South Dakota. And that's not who we had yesterday. We had Stephanie from South Dakota yesterday. Leah, do you know Stephanie? Because I know that seems crazy, but Stephanie knew another person that I work with from South Dakota. So it's, I don't know, once you get farmers out here. And Amy from California, Brenda, New Hampshire. Yay, we got people from all over. Oh, you do know Stephanie, isn't that funny? South Dakota, Sioux Falls must be very small. You guys all know each other. In Texas, moving to Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, Florida. Oh my gosh, how's the weather in Florida, Shannon? Are you affected by what's going on there? I've been hearing all about it. And more California, Texas. This is great. Welcome, everyone. Pennsylvania, thanks so much for teaching this course. You're welcome, Sarah. I love doing this. I love it. I farm and I teach, and it's like my 2 favorite things. So you're welcome. And if you guys aren't in our private Facebook group, you'll want to get in there because so much teaching goes on in there, and there's so many valuable resources and people that really know what they're talking about. Let me check the time. We've got about 2 minutes, so we're just going to chat for 2 minutes. If this is your first webinar, sometimes we have technology issues. Yesterday went just fine, no issues. If anything freezes up, just hang on and we'll be right back. We have very strong Wi-Fi. I actually left the farm because our Wi-Fi is very weak there and can go out. So I came to my daughter's house in town, and she has very fast Wi-Fi, which is unbelievable. When you go from very slow Wi-Fi to very fast Wi-Fi, you realize what you're missing in life. So it's nice to have some good technology. And we are talking about marketing today. Again, I've got like a minute away, so I'm not going to start talking business yet, but it's marketing using online marketing things, techniques that really is where people shop these days. If you have zero interest in using online techniques to market your farm, and I don't mean selling things online, but selling at your farm, you know, you may not want to listen in, but our customers are online these days. So that's hopefully where you want to be. And based, even compared to 5 years ago, 3 years ago, even 1 year ago, technology just keeps getting cheaper and cheaper. So it makes it really easy for people like us to use online marketing techniques. Oh, look, we have Puerto Rico. Welcome. What do you do, Franco, in Puerto Rico? What kind of farm do you have? I'm curious. And Idaho, Nevada City, Virginia. Welcome, everybody. I'm just really excited everyone's here. And just about to start. Let me get a drink of water. I see it's 10 o'clock. And we've got a busy group today. We've got a lot of people on here. A micro goat farm in Maine. Cool. We've got a lot of people, so the comments are going to go fast. When we get to questions, my daughter will highlight ones that I can answer, but I'll answer as many as I can too as we go. All right, well, let's get started with the actual training. Also, there's a teeny bit of a delay. Okay, so cool, Franco in Puerto Rico, 1.5 acres of vegetables and fruits. That's exciting. I've not had anyone from Puerto Rico on a webinar before. So this is exciting. Welcome. Welcome to everybody. We've got people from all over the US. So what I want to start off with is kind of a mindset and a frame of why we're here today and why I do what I do. And that's kind of a difference between marketing and advertising. So advertising started, 50 years ago. Large companies knew that almost everybody had a TV in their living room. So if a big company could buy a TV spot or an ad, they knew that they had a captive audience, whether they were selling Wheaties or Fruit Loops or Palmolive, or trying to think of all those commercials I grew up with. People would run out and buy their products. Coca-Cola, huge corporations were built from advertising because they knew that everybody had a TV, or number two, listened to the radio. So this worked great. It worked amazing up until the advent of the internet, which is where we're at now. All of a sudden, people are getting their news in many, many, many different places. We know we don't even watch local network TV in our house. We don't see commercials anymore. You don't have to. So advertising doesn't work. We have turned to this idea of relationship, people buying with relationship, which is actually going back, because that's how people used to buy before TV. So we have to go back in time, just like our food. We need to go back, what was good 150 years ago, we're actually finding is good now. Same in marketing. We have to practice relationship-based marketing. However, the best way to do that today is utilizing online technology, which has become very inexpensive and very user-friendly. I started out with the internet. I was working in a corporation before the internet, and then in the early 90s started getting email, and it was so cumbersome, and very difficult. Today it's just a snap, and things have changed even from a year ago when I first started teaching this, and we're always giving updates. So it's very simple. Anyway, the other thing I want to point out to you is that there's a big Facebook page, has like 40,000 people following it, and they posted an article a couple weeks ago of a farm that's failing and going out of business, which I see all the time. And a lot of farmers were on there commenting, saying, this is my story too, this is us, we struggle so much, you can't make a living farming. And some statistics, 80% of farms go out of business within the first 2 years. And that's my experience, when I talk to farmers around the US too. Only 2% of farms make it to the 5-year mark. So when you focus on those 80% of farms that are going out of business, you're going to follow along with them. So instead, we need to be focusing on the 2% of farms that are doing it right and are successful. And that's why I'm here today, to help you refocus on things that work. Stop focusing on the farms that fail, because there are reasons they fail, and focus on the reasons farms are making it. So let me just make sure I'm covering my notes here. So today we're focusing on relationship-centered marketing and not on advertising. I'm going to switch over to the slides right now. And this is my daughter, Hayden. Everyone could say hi to Hayden. She's right here in case there's any problems. She's also in the chat room, so you guys will see her answering the questions while I'm talking. And there, okay, so let me remember how to work it. I just moved the arrow, right? Okay. Thank God for children who can help us with technology too. Anyway, welcome everyone. I'm so glad you're here from all over, inside and outside the US. My name is Charlotte Smith, and I own Shampooed Creamery. I grew up on our farm, and I left and went to college, swore I'd never come back. And then I moved back 12 years ago and started my farm 7 years ago. And now we're a diversified farm on 75 acres. We sell grass-fed and grass-finished beef, and then pastured pork, pastured chickens and eggs, and raw milk from 3 cows. And that's because we're only allowed 3 cows in Oregon by Oregon law if we're going to sell raw milk. So I work within that law. And we're known for our intense rotational grazing of all our animals. And this is our website, shampooedcreamery.com. That's for our farm customers. And this is our little farm store on the right. And it's right next to our barn there that's on the left. I just put that in there because it's such a pretty picture. And that barn is about 150 years old. And we sell 100% of our products through our farm store. So we don't go to farmers markets. We don't do any deliveries, no drop points, nothing. And most of our customers drive about an hour one way to get to our farm each week, sometimes every 2 weeks, to pick up their things. And let me get a drink of water. Okay. And just so you know who I am, I'm there on the left with my husband, Mark, up in the pig barn with our trusty livestock guardian dog. On the right are my 3 kids. Austin, my son, is in the Marine Corps, and he actually just left on a deployment for 8 or 9 months, so he's off serving his country. And my daughter, Hayden, you just met, works with me in the office, and my youngest, Siobhan, runs the farm. I'm sure you know what I mean by that. All right. And also, I just want to continue on about my business. When I started, I had these relationship centered marketing techniques already, because I had been self-employed for about 20 years. And I had just worked in the corporate world for a little while, and I knew it wasn't for me. So I knew from experience that it was far more productive of me and far more valuable to build relationships with a small group of people. And that would be better than any place I could advertise. If I advertised, I might get 1 or 2 responses. But when I built relationships with people individually, that ran my business. I mean, that paid all the bills. So when I started my farm 7 years ago, I was sold out on raw milk by the time I brought my first cow home right away. And I was able to get a second cow right away because of that. And we pretty much had a waiting list for our raw milk and several other products since then. And over the years, as I added products one by one, we are always able to sell out 100% of our products through our farm store right here on our property. The store actually started in our garage when we had, less than 40 people. They had the keypad code to our garage and would just come in at any time of day and help themselves. And after about the 40 customer mark, that got out of control. So we refurbished a shed in our yard, and that became the new farm store. And then we built the one you just saw, and that's our large retail farm store. And that's about, I think we're as big as we're going to get. But always I've been able to sell my products at the price that we need to be sustainable. I was not willing to, I wasn't able to get loans because as a farmer, I couldn't get a loan. And so I have built our farm slowly by just reinvesting everything and raising the prices to be able to afford to do that. And then I started getting asked by local farmers, how is it that you're able to sell your products at your prices when we can't sell half of what we produce? And sometimes these farmers were just a few miles from me. So here I am selling all my products at a higher price, and they're always struggling and usually ending up going out of business. So because of that, because of those phone calls and the struggles I see, I'm committed to teaching other farmers those skills that I use to create a profitable farm. So I started this business, 3 Cow Marketing. I give these free trainings. I have a couple paid programs. You guys all have such great products. I hear from so many of you that you can't find enough people to buy at the price you need, though. And then I hear of another small farmer going out of business. Either they email me and tell me everything's for sale, or I see, blog posts or something. And really, this has to stop. It's really sad because our communities need what we're selling. So anyway, I'm here to help you to get it to all those people who need it most. All right, and if you're wondering who I am to teach this course even, well, I've been farming now for 7 years, like I said. I was the first dairy listed by the Raw Milk Institute, and that is an organization that provides national standards for raw milk production, and I met those standards, the first one back in 2012. It's a great group. In 2016, I was named one of the top 24 most influential women in food and agriculture in the world. It's probably because I like to talk a lot. And also, I am secretary for the Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund, which you all came from that list. So you're familiar with them. It's a group of, many of us are volunteer. The attorneys donate a lot of time, and they offer sometimes free or lower cost legal support, legal aid to farmers just like us. It's a great group, and that is how I give back. I give them a lot of my time, and they are it's a wonderful group. I'm actually teaching a course I'll tell you about at the end of this, and they are getting part of the proceeds from that course too. So I give back to them any way I can. All right, so are you ready to get started? Yes, would love it. Let me know if you want to go on. Well, of course you want to go on, you're here, so let's go on. I want to go over some housekeeping notes. One thing you need to know is if your screen is blurry, there's nothing we can do about that. That's on your end. It has something to do with your transmission. The best way to help is close all the tabs on your computer to help make sure your screen is the clearest you can. Don't do any downloads during this. Refresh your page if you have to. There's one more little trick. If your screen is really blurry, you can hover down in the right-hand corner of the screen and you will see a YouTube icon, and you could click on that and go watch this webinar in YouTube. And then you can hover over on that little gear where that pink arrow is pointing and adjust the settings so that you can see it clear if it's a big problem. Now, yesterday we had someone who couldn't even get in. She was restricted. That was because her computer settings were off. So I just want to say again, if your screen is blurry, that's on your end. Just close out of everything. Make sure this is the only thing open. And if you want, watch on YouTube. And the other thing is the replay we send out a couple hours after this is over, it will be very clear. So if all else fails, you can watch it again there. All right, the other thing is you can ask questions. I just asked, you're gonna get more likely to get an answer if you keep them relevant to the current topic. If you have questions about other things, you can always email us, 3calmarketing@gmail.com. You could also go into our private Facebook group, The Profitable Farmer with Charlotte Smith. That has been an amazing group. If you're not in there, I highly recommend you go ask to join. It's just been great. I do a lot of teaching in there, and there are other people that are experts and sharing advice. So it's a great place to get more information if you'd like. All right. Now, I would love to know, why did you show up to this training today? I have a few ideas. And the reason I have a few ideas is because I get a lot of emails from a lot of farmers, and they say things like they're struggling to make ends meet because people aren't willing to pay enough for their products. Sometimes, they're getting lots of pressure to keep their prices low, so they aren't even covering the costs. I get emails that tell me you're overwhelmed with running ads on Facebook or posting to Craigslist or advertisements elsewhere, and they don't work. You're not getting enough customers from them. I also hear from people, you're desperately trying to get more customers. You're running out of energy, motivation, you're running ragged, you're driving all over making deliveries. And then, some of the worst emails are when they finally decide you have to close up shop. So anyway, you're probably in some of these categories. I have people that say, we have plenty of customers, but our prices are low. How do I raise my prices without losing customers? So the struggle is real. I see and hear of farmers going out of business all the time, whether it's direct emails to me or, on social media, or websites are just shut down. So it's happening all the time. Like I said, 80% don't make it to the two-year mark. So let's change that. Let's make that 80% make it to the 5-year mark and further. So in today's training, like I said, it's going to be focused using online marketing techniques that are free or lower cost now, much lower than they were 2, 3, 5 years ago. You're going to learn why you're losing customers by trying to appeal to everybody. We'll talk about the only legal way to email your customers and strategies to keep your customers coming back for more. All right. Today, I now run a profitable farm utilizing my email list of devoted customers, and back to that, using online techniques, and email list is one of those. I've built my email list today is probably about 1,300 people. I average about adding one person per day. And when I am at this point now, about the point I hit 1,000 people, my marketing really became on to a point where I felt confident. I knew that we were going to sell out of all our product. I knew I could raise my prices as I needed to, you know, as feed costs go up and electricity costs go up, and I would not lose customers. I knew I would keep customers from season to season. And this is about the point I got my list to 1,000 people. And this is not just 1,000 random people, but this is because my customers are totally engaged with me. So I send emails to my email list about every 2 weeks, year round, to my farm customers. They comment, they email back, they come out to our store, they communicate with me. These are all, you know, engaged people. So I'm not just blasting advertisements to them. And again, like I said, when I hit 1,000 people, I just didn't have to focus as hard and didn't have to scramble as much. I didn't have to worry about, you know, finding 10 new people. Our farm is just happily running along, and new customers are still coming to us all the time, because once we hit that kind of magic number, now there's this referral process that's happening based on the foundation I've built. So I want to show you a timeline of the, excuse me, the things I did over the years to get to 1,000 people. In 2009, I spent that year researching raw milk, talking to every person I knew, and talking about what I was doing. I talked about why I was bringing home a milk cow. And these are things like toddler play groups. You know, I'm sitting there while we're watching our 2-year-olds play, and I'm talking about bringing home a milk cow, and the other moms are just fascinated. And they're wondering why. And I tell them our story of healing from eczema and all that with raw milk. So by the time I brought home my first milk cow in 2010, I was sold out on milk right away, just because of all the people I was talking to. So this is good I had a lot of people in our last webinar who are planning on selling products next year. So you need to start this today. You know, what we're talking about today, it's not too early to start. Start it now, so that when you finally have your first product to sell, you'll have lots of customers. Okay, and if you're having problems, please refresh your screen. Good, one refresh, that helps. So sound came back when you refresh. So great, just refresh if you're having troubles hearing, and know that the replay will be very clear. It's just your connections, everyone. So if you're like me, you were way out in the country, you know, refresh your screen, you'll be good to go. All right, so then in, back to my notes. All right, so in about 2012, I was overwhelmed with hundreds of customers. I was scattered. I was losing emails. I wasn't getting back to people. Our customer service was suffering. I didn't know what to do, and I discovered an email marketing software. And so there's one today, a new one we recommend called MailerLite. I'm going to talk about that later, but if you're wondering what that is, it's something like MailerLite. And I got that first email marketing software back then. I used one called Aweber, which is fine, but there's better ones I recommend now, I think. And I put all of my milk customers manually into that email list and asked them to confirm that they're in there. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just bear with me. You'll hang on, you'll get it. And that's where I started. And it made, and again, that was about 4 years ago, it made connecting with my customers so much easier, more efficient. I had, you know, my life wasn't so crazy anymore. And then over the years, we just grew steadily. Like I said, I added about 1 customer a day. I was really working by trial and error until last year at some point when we reached the 1,000 people on our email list that are very engaged, and our marketing and our sales. It's so easy to sell things now and to continue raising our prices as we need to be sustainable. And doing that, I did not have the neat little training package to teach me how. I had to learn this myself, Google things, trial and error. So I wrote all this down and I put it into courses and trainings, what worked for me and what works in marketing today. So you can definitely get here much faster than I did. So today we've got a 1-hour training. I'm putting a lot into this 1-hour training. I do have paid courses where we spend, you know, 20, 30, 40 or more hours on these topics. So I'll talk about one of those at the end of this, but just know that I'm squeezing what I can in here, and there's so much more out there that I did that we can handhold you through, teaching you how to do that too. So it took me about 3 years to get to that list of 1,000 people, but I know you guys could do it faster if you have a training program too, or someone, a mentor, someone going ahead of you. You know, and this whole idea of in our society today, it seems like it's totally acceptable for farmers to live at the poverty level. Well, not me, and I hope not you. You know, I'm wondering, why is it okay that farmers shouldn't be able to pay for their child's college education? You know, sometimes it seems like the public just expects that. Oh, of course you can't pay for your kid's college, you're a farmer. Or, you know, what's crazy is it's okay that a person's farmer is on food stamps as long as their chicken is priced low enough for their customers. And if you think, well, that's crazy, I get emails like that. I get emails from farmers saying, I'm embarrassed that we're on food stamps, but our customers just won't let us raise the prices. They'll all leave. You know, this is crazy. I mean, shame on those customers. But we've created that. They don't know consciously that they're doing that. So anyway, you know, remember, 80% of farmers are gone within 2 years. So we're working on that. Also, let's see. So anywhere, let me hear a wild yes in the chat if you agree. Do you agree farmers should not live at the poverty level? Farmers should not have to be on food stamps to keep their prices low. We should be able to send our kids to college, you know, and not use any retirement we might have had to pay for that. So tell me a wild yes if you agree with that. And moving on, enough of that. Amen, Linda. That's great. So thanks, you guys. I'm glad you agree. Yes, we should be having a decent living wage. And a lot of that comes down to education, you know, and if farming were a more appealing lifestyle, we wouldn't be losing so many farmers. So I don't know if you guys know, I get to interview Joel Soliton next weekend, and we're going to talk about just this topic because he's done a lot for raising awareness. So many, I mean, everyone, if you're on this webinar, I'm sure you all agree. So thank you very, very much. All right, so enough of that sermon. We've got all our amens. We now have to talk about email marketing. You're probably wondering, what the heck is an email marketing system anyway? Well, I want to ask you a question, or actually give me some feedback here. If you're emailing your customers through your regular email account, type 1 in the chat box there. Or if you're not even emailing at all, or if you're blind copying all your customers, type 1. If you do use an email marketing service already, type 2 in the chat. I'd just like to get an idea. The last webinar I taught, we were kind of half and half. I'm just reading some of the comments here. Yeah, Jeanette, good point. These football players are paid too much. Okay, sorry if I offended any of you guys who watch football. That's crazy. Why are they making $14 million a year? Okay, so we got lots of mostly 1s today and some 2s. All right, good. Looks like maybe, well, you know, almost half and half. So that's wonderful that some of you guys are out there. Leah hasn't heard of emailing before, so that's what we're going to keep on going with today. Gmail, WordPress, Google Groups. Okay, good, you guys. This is great feedback. So there's some things you need to know. When you use your email, your regular email for emailing your customers, this is illegal. It's been illegal for several years, but they are, oh good, MailChimp, yes, that's a good one. They are starting to crack down on it more and more. I know, Casey, that's crazy. Those football players should become farmers. Anyway, they're starting to crack down on us, anybody, not just farmers, but anybody emailing and selling things out of your personal email account. Your account could get marked as spam and it could get shut down. And I'm getting more and more emails from farmers. I didn't 2 years ago, but now we're getting reports from farmers of, you know, their email accounts are getting frozen and shut down. So you've got to switch to an email marketing service, which can be free. Your emails will end up in spam folders more and more often. I had a customer or a client in our 3Cal marketing course who said almost when she started, about half her emails were going to spam. Well, that is going to happen in your personal email account. You could also face fines, so we don't want fines. All right, so an email marketing service is the only legal way to send marketing emails to your customers. Now, you can email your customer, like if you have to contact a customer about the cow they bought out of your personal email account, that's totally fine. You can email customers individually with questions, concerns, things like that out of your personal email. But an email marketing service provider is the only legal way. There's a blind copy question up there. I'll let my daughter answer. Is the only way to do it legally. So when you get an email service, and again, that can be free, we recommend MailerLite. It's free up to like the first 1,000 people. And by the time you get to 1,000, you're going to be rolling in enough money to pay the price. But it personalizes your emails. So if you're sending emails to 100 people, they sign up, you required that they put their first name in there. Every email says, Dear Bob, or Dear Charlotte, or Dear Julie, or Dear Ryan, or Dear Shay. Goes to that individual person. And that makes a psychological connection with the person. So even though they know it's an automated email most of the time, they still feel really good seeing their name there on paper. So it helps in more ways than one. It sends to all of your subscribers in one click. You didn't have to cut and paste or copy and paste any emails. They're already set up for you in an email list. It also tracks engagement on emails. And what I mean is, let me show you. It shows who opened your emails. Oh, Randy, it's MailerLite, and we'll talk about it in a minute here too. So hang on, you'll get that information. All right, so this is inside our email service. I use ConvertKit because we've grown to where we have to use something more robust. This is what we use. You do not need to start with ConvertKit though. You can start with the one Hayden just listed in the comments there. All right, so here's my list of subscribers, just a screenshot. I could click on Amy's name there at the top and it would show me which emails she's opened and which one she's clicked on to get more information. So it shows me, gives me so much feedback. It'll tell me what she's interested in. And so if I see more clicks on certain links than other clicks, I can kind of know what my audience wants to hear about and what they're really bored with, what to leave out of the emails. So there's tons of information. Just knowing how many opens you have on your emails is huge. And you can't tell that when you're emailing out of your personal email. All right, and here is inside ConvertKit again. Here's a couple of emails I sent, so you see what it looks like. I sent an email a couple weeks ago, reserve your Thanksgiving turkey here. You can see that it went to 1,179 people. 42% of them opened it. So that's what, 450, 500 people opened my email. And then 11.7, almost 12% of those clicked on that. And let me tell you what that means in dollars. We do about 100 turkeys a year. Well, within 2 days, we had deposits paid on every single turkey we had for sale. That was one email, and that's resulting in thousands and thousands of dollars for us. But more importantly, more than that money is the time I saved. I spent, a little bit of time writing that email. I copied the one I wrote last year. So this is where it gets efficient. You use the same, similar emails from year to year. I one click and I've got thousands of dollars of turkeys sold out, which means I can stop marketing turkeys. I've stopped talking about turkeys and I've moved on to now our pigs are starting to be harvested and I need to make sure I've sold those. So as opposed to, I have friends who are farmers selling turkeys and I will see them marketing their turkeys for 6 months. I'll see them in July, putting up Facebook posts, buy a turkey, and still in October, they're still trying to sell those turkeys. The problem is their customer base now has ad fatigue, doesn't even notice their emails. They totally ignore them. So you need to get to a point where you can send out one email to your list, you sell your product, you're done, and you move on to either the next thing you sell or the next phase. All right, and then the email right below it, I sent out in May to almost 1,200 people. 41% opened it, 10.6 clicked. So as you can, and some unsubscribers there, which is fine. So as you can see, we have a very high engagement rate. And that engagement rate shows that I have really devoted customers. So first of all, how do I define a devoted customer? That is someone who's on your email list. They pore over every word you write. They love either coming out to your farm or meeting you at the farmer's market or getting to your drop point to buy your products. They love getting your products, and they will buy anything you have to offer. And they're often asking things like, what else do you have I can buy? They just can't get enough of you. And this is what we see in our farm store every day. People know we sell meat and milk and eggs, and they'll come out and buy meat and milk and eggs and said, what else do you have? We just want to buy from you. So you can do this. You can get to this point, and it is so wonderful to have that kind of peace, that knowing that you're going to be able to sell everything you have. So I want to encourage you that when you work towards getting devoted customers, not just random people, but devoted customers on an email list, set your goals at maybe 100 new customers every 3 to 6 months. Your marketing will become so much easier. Okay, so then let me tell you what it looks like. You create your email list first. You begin building deep relationships with each person on that list by sending them valuable emails that they connect with until you become almost famous to them. And you're not sending them advertisements. We'll talk a little bit about what you're sending them, but you're sending them things that are important to them. And you're using email. So you're writing to them in ways, and you're giving them things that connect with them and help them build a relationship with you. And why do you need to build a relationship with them? Well, remember, like I said at the beginning, that's how people buy in today's world. They buy with emotion. They might use logic to justify it later, but they like to buy from people they know, like, or trust. If they're going to buy a quarter beef and spend $800, $900, $1,000, they need to like you, know you, and trust you. Because I get that in our farm store. I hear that people will order a quarter beef from us and say, we used to get it from this other place before we found you, and I just don't like them. I want to buy from people I like. So I know this because I study this. And if you can get people to know, like, and trust you, which you can totally do through online techniques and emailing, then you will have a devoted list of customers. All right. Hopefully this is making sense. And if you have questions, you can put those in there and Hayden will point them out to me. I also want to point out that social media followers are not devoted. I'm not talking about 1,000 fans on your Facebook page or your Instagram account or your Twitter followers. That is completely different. So followers or Facebook fans are not devoted customers, and there's reasons. Facebook doesn't want them to be devoted customers, so they don't see your communications. So it's very difficult to build relationship consistently on Facebook. They might see a random post that you put up. So we're talking about two completely different sets of people, and that's fans versus followers. Now, your followers may become devoted customers, and they may get over to your email list, but they just, don't assume that because you have 1,000 Facebook fans, you're set and your marketing should be really easy. No, you've got to get them on your email list, and there's ways to do that. You can post a blog post that you wrote onto your Facebook page. Maybe it's a recipe about how to make bone broth, and then they click on that, and you've got your sign up that we're going to talk about, and they get on your email list. So you can move those social media followers to your email list, but they are not devoted customers yet. And so you also don't want to focus on social media until you've got your email list, and you've got relationship building emails going out. Ben, as a farmer, how and when did you collect email addresses and where from? Ben, every single person that shows up at my store and wants to buy something, they give me their email, because I need to know, especially because we sell raw milk, I need to know who's buying our raw milk. And it's very easy to say, what's your name and email? I no longer get phone numbers. I don't bother with phone numbers. So when people showed up to buy anything, I got their name and email. I would ask them in our farm store now, me and all the employees, as soon as someone comes in, we say, do you get our emails? Very just conversationally ask them if they get our emails. They always send out recipes and reports and studies and nutrition advice and all kinds of great information. So let's get you on our email list. Here, just enter your name and email right here. And they do it right there on the iPad in the farm store. You can do it on your phone at a farmer's market. You can even write down their emails and just let them know. Say, hey, I'm going to add you to our email list so you can get all these really wonderful things I email out. And then they will confirm that they're on there later. When they get home, they'll get an email from you with a confirmation link. Similar to when you signed up for this webinar. You got an email with a confirmation link. Oh, maybe you didn't. But anyway, I know that you've probably signed up for an email from some store somewhere, or my email list or something, and you confirmed it. So everywhere you go, you're before the store in the beginning. Oh, Ben, that was like I talked about at the beginning. When I'm at play groups, church, school, meetings, checking out in the grocery store, before I start my farm, I'm collecting emails. I'm getting them on my list, and I am already sending out emails. So say I'm going to, Ben, what are you going to sell? I'm just curious, what are you going to sell next year? And I can give you a little one-on-one advice there. Whatever you're planning on selling, if you're selling 6 months from now, you're already sending out 2 emails a month, or 1 at the very least, regarding something about the product you're going to be selling. So you're already building relationship with them before you have anything to sell them, so that by the time you have your first product to sell, they already know you, they know what you're about, they know a little bit about your personality, things like that, and then it's so much easier to sell to them.
And your website.
Yes, and your website.
You have an email sign up on your website.
Oh yeah. So I have an email sign up on my website too, and we'll show you about that here in a little bit. But so that way, when people come to your website that might say, grass-fed beef coming 2017, you've got a name and email list right there. Okay, so Ben's got a CSA, raw milk, meat, value added. Oh yeah, Ben, so you could be collecting those emails on your website right now, and if you aren't selling those items yet, talking about vegetables, you'll see coming up. So hang on, I'm talking about that in a few slides, and you could be doing that well before you send have your first items to sell. Let's see. Okay, so if you think you don't need this information because maybe you already have 3,000 people on a list, well, I've got to say, if you're not paying your bills and you're not profiting from those 3,000 people, because some people just collect random names, then they aren't engaged enough with you, and they are not devoted customers. They're just names on a list. So then you can start over re-engaging your list. So keep your list, but re-engage them and rebuild it. Some of those people will drop off, and eventually you'll turn it around to a list of devoted customers. So just because you have thousands of people, if you're not paying your bills, then it's not engaged enough. All right, and I see lots of questions up there, and I can't get to all of them, so you can also pop into our private Facebook group and ask this question. I will put some of these questions in there and answer them, so check for answers over there, just because there's lots of really amazing questions right there. Jeanette, how valuable is a website? Yes, a website is essential. Today, to get an email list, you have to have a website. So everything we're talking about, you have to have a website. We have a free training on how to set up a very basic website in Squarespace. It's free. Squarespace you pay for, but our training is free. It's on our website, 3cowmarketing.com, under free trainings. And there's 2 free trainings in there. They're both valuable because you can set up a website and maintain it pretty cheaply, and it's mandatory in order to have an email sign up on there, and that's to avoid spam. Shay, great question. Okay, that's something we go over many more. We spend many hours on your question in our course, how to make emails happen regularly without, so you can pre-schedule all these things. Okay, let's see. All right, so today's training, let's get back to that for a second. These questions are awesome. 3 steps to a profitable farm. Number 1, define your ideal customer. We're going to talk about that. Grow your email list and build trust. I will show you how to build that list of devoted customers. And if that's overwhelming, like I said, make it your goal to have 100 customers on an email list in the next 3 months or 6 months if 3 months is overwhelming. Break it down. Okay, number 1 is define your ideal customer. So in order to start building this list of 1,000 devoted customers, which you can do before you even start your farm, like we've talked about, you need to identify who your ideal customer is. All right, so I know this causes a lot of confusion if people have never heard of this idea before. You want to define the person who's buying your products. Is that a man? Is it a woman? You need to know this. And this is very important. You need to choose one. Let's go on. Does your ideal customer shop at Whole Foods or Safeway or farmers markets or online stores? Where does she shop? You need to know that too. And what does your ideal customer need to believe in order to buy your products? This is something I spend hours up front identifying my ideal customer. And then I update who that is every 6 months or as something changes. And again, I'm giving you what I can here in 1 hour, but we spend probably 5 or 6 hours on an ideal customer in our course, our paid course. I mean, hours defining it and helping people and hand-holding until they come up with a really narrow description of their ideal customer. So you need to know these things. That's how you have devoted customers, is you need to know who your ideal customer is. And otherwise, you won't be able to effectively communicate what you offer on your website if you have not identified who your ideal customer is. None of your marketing attempts, whether it's signage at the farmers markets or those emails you're going to be writing, will be nearly as effective as you need them to be without identifying those ideal customers. That's just a hugely important first step. And you're going to revise that. So you're going to define an ideal customer today, and you're going to work on it and narrow it down over time. All right, so there's this idea that if you're selling to everybody, you're selling to nobody. So if you think everybody eats food, I sell food, therefore everybody's my customer, that's not right, that's wrong. You're going to have very unengaged customer list. All right, so let's see. Oh, I have a great quote. James Joyce says, "In the particular is the universal." So I know we're getting kind of ethereal here, but think about that for a minute. In the particular, when you get very, very particular, there you appeal universally. So when you get really specific, so it seems really odd. Let's see, it can be kind of difficult for people to get at first, but the more narrowly you define who it is you're selling to, the more you will appeal to the masses. All right, so what I'd love for you to do is grab your workbook now, and let's turn to the ideal customer page. If you printed it out, that is, otherwise make some notes. I think it's page 2. It's only a 4-page notebook, so you'll find it. Page 2, make some notes of who your ideal customer is, just as we're talking here. Is your ideal customer a man or a woman? And you could also base it on who is your favorite customer, or if you're not selling yet, who would be, you know, of the people you know, who do you wish would just be all your, what's that one person you wish all your customers were exactly alike? You know, how old is that person? Why does that person love buying from you instead of the grocery store? And I know you can do this because I have hundreds of customers at our farm store, and I have 2 or 3 favorites, and I wish I could clone them. I wish everyone was like that 1 or 2 or 3 customers. So what are the traits of that one person that you really like and you wish all your customers were like? What are her traits? Write those down, her or his traits if it's a man. In my case, women do most of the shopping at our farm store because they're buying for their family. So my ideal customer is a woman. But guess what? We have a lot of men who shop at our farm store, and they say, I love your emails. I read them every couple weeks. I can't wait to get them. I can't wait to see what you have to say. Even though in my email, I'm writing to a woman. So I hope this is making sense to you, and just hang in there. You'll get it over time, but I want to introduce that idea and know that, you know, in our course, we spend many hours going over this. So this isn't something you get just in one day. All right, so watch and listen as we go through these next slides together, and I'll explain a little more. Maybe you think, I want to sell raw milk to women. You could go further. I want to sell raw milk to women aged 35 to 50. I want to sell raw milk to women who are 35 to 50 and care about their health. All right, so most people stop there, you know, right here. Most people stop at, I want to sell raw milk to women, 35 to 50, care about their health. You can do better than that. I want to sell raw milk to women who are 35 to 50, eat a mostly paleo diet to improve their health. And bingo, you've got it. All right, so see how specific we got there? Age, gender, how they eat. why they eat to improve their health. Now, if you stopped at, I want to sell raw milk to women who are 35 to 50 and care about their health, well, vegetarians and paleo both care about their health. So if you're selling to everybody, you're selling to nobody. So let's go back to this vegetarians and paleo. See how different those two groups are. So if you're trying to market and reach both those groups at once, because your ideal customer, you're trying to reach a vegetarian and a paleo, you're going to be very general in your emails. Your recipes aren't going to be specific because you don't want to offend the paleo, you don't want to offend the vegetarians. So then you're going to send out these emails and nobody will open them because they don't appeal to either group. They're way too general. So people don't connect with them. You're afraid of offending them. They don't buy your goods because you haven't connected at all. All right, so hopefully this is starting to make sense. If you're selling to everybody, you're selling to nobody. You need to be really specific. All right, do you guys have questions? Okay, I know there's a lot of questions in here. Do you have questions about the ideal customer? And again, if you get to our Profitable Farm email or Facebook group, you can request to get in there if you're not already. We talk about lots of this in there too. All right, yes, Sarah has a favorite customer. So start writing your emails to that one person. Leah, yeah, so when I write an email, my marketing emails every 2 weeks, I have my ideal customer in mind, and it's almost like I'm writing to that person. All right, it's almost like I'm saying, "Dear Jennifer," and telling her a little story, a very personal story. But guess what? My 1,300 customers who are receiving those emails love that email, even though it's like I'm writing Jennifer a personal letter. So I hope this is starting to make sense. Leland, on Facebook, I have a private group that's open to anyone. You just have to request to join. And it's called the Profitable Farm with Charlotte Smith Facebook group. Lots of this information is in there. Oh, thank you, Casey. I appreciate that. Good to know, because I try to make it very clear and it stumbles. People think that, everyone eats food, so therefore everyone's our customer, and it's not true. So thank you, Casey. I appreciate that. Sunny, what about narrowing to people who want to heal the land, heal the earth, and support sustainable practices? Is that too general? Sunny, I want to bring up another thought or another mindset here. A lot of farmers think that their customers are coming to them because they appreciate their farmer is healing the land, healing the earth, supporting sustainable practices. I think and this is where I say you need to talk to your customers, because that's important to you, Sunny, but is that important to your customers? My customers want to know that our chicken was raised on pasture, and that's about it. They want to know if our bone broth will heal their kids' gut so their autism symptoms improve. That's what they care about. So most of our customers, if you have a lot of customers saying, I want to buy from you because you are trying to heal the land, I'm guessing maybe you haven't talked to your customers directly enough, because that's a farmer's perspective. That's typically not our customer's perspective. So engage with your customers more. Leah, yes, we need to build our tribe off our favorite customers. Absolutely. And you will see how it pays off. So like I said, I'm writing an email to my favorite customer, but every single one of my customers on my list appreciates it. Okay, so I'm going to move on. The second step is get them on your email list. We just talked a little bit about this. And this is where I ask everyone in our farm store, and my employees know to ask as they're coming in and shopping for food, oh, do you get our emails? Just very conversationally. And if they say no, we say, oh, we send out wonderful information on there, such as recipes. Like if they're buying beef, you can say, well, we send out beef recipes. We have some great recipes on barbecuing steaks and Charlotte's favorite steak sauce and all that. You'll love to get it. We also send out some exposés on the meat, confined meat or something that your ideal customer is interested in, and just have them enter the information right there on your iPad, your computer, your phone, if I'm at a conference, I will have a person pull their phone out of their pocket. Like, I'm speaking at a conference next weekend, and during the conference, I'm going to say, all right, everyone in the audience, pull your phone out, go to 3calmarketing.com, sign up, and you will get a freebie. They're going to get the slides that I'm talking about there, and they're going to be on our email list. So yes, we get them on our email list wherever we are, you know, and I have had grocery store clerks get on my email list because they see I'm buying lots of milk jars or something and they want raw milk. So wherever you are, your job is to add people to your list. All right, now grab your workbook. We're going to go to page 3. Let's see. So getting them, like I said, we talked about it before, MailerLite, and we have a free course at 3calmarketing.com on MailerLite, and we have a free course on setting up your website, because you need a website to have an email marketing service. And you could have a very basic 3-page website that you design on Squarespace. It's beautiful. You don't have to hire someone. I hired someone last year finally to design my website, but the first 5 years of my website, it was what I designed myself, and it was very productive. I just wanted something prettier, so I had someone else do it. But you can do a great job yourself, and we teach you how on that free course. So what you're going to have is, you've all seen one of these. If you're on the internet at all, you've seen this little sign-up form, right? It says sign up for my newsletter. If you have one of those on your website, don't tell me. If your sign-up form says sign up for my newsletter, don't tell me. Just go after this webinar and change it, because you can do so much better than that. And I'll tell you why. 5 years ago, a newsletter was great. But nobody wants another newsletter today. This newsletter thing is saturated. That was novel. 10 years ago, a newsletter was novel. 5 years ago, it was still okay, but you can't do that today. You can't offer people people are too busy. Let me go back to that one. They're too busy to read all these emails. So, they're just going to delete it if that's what you say. But look at this one. Say you sell raw milk. Well, then on your little sign up, which you customize yourself, you type this in there, get my 5 favorite raw milk cheese recipes. Now, people are going to sign up to your email list for this little booklet. This is something they're going to sign up for. All right, let me keep going. Also, say, depending on your farm, just make sure your sign up freebie complements what you sell. So, for instance, a guide to pastured pork, you got to make sure you sell pastured pork. Right now, we have a booklet on our website for our farm customers with my 4 favorite pork recipes, including paleo biscuits and gravy. That's my sign up form right now on my website. So something like that. And then they get that free when they sign up, and then they get on your email list. So they're willing to sign up for that. Or 5 veggie recipes kids will love. If you have a CSA and you have 5 veggie recipes kids will love, I would sign up for that, because I'm always trying to get my 9-year-old to eat more vegetables because she complains. So that's something I can relate to. If your ideal customer has kids and you run a CSA, what a great lead magnet that's called. Okay, so write down in the workbook, if you have any brilliant ideas right now, write down some ideas of what kind of freebie you can give away. And these are things I'm introducing you to here that you have to do. We teach you how in our course. That's where we spend hours and hours on these things. All right, step 3 is to have consistent quality communication with your email list of loyal subscribers to build relationship with them. So after the 3rd step, after you've got them on your email list, you have to communicate with them at a minimum once a month, and it has to be consistent. So if you choose once a month, it has to be monthly, year round. If you choose every 3 weeks, it has to be every 3 weeks year round. It needs to be consistent, or people will unsubscribe if you're inconsistent in your emailing. And I'm telling you based on my education and my experience. So you've got to be consistent. So I recommend, since you're just starting out, start out with emailing them once a month, year round, even if you're a seasonal business. Because if you lose touch with them in December because you don't have, your CSA is not working, not running in December, they are far less likely to be your customer the next spring. So you've still got to email them throughout the winter too, even if you're seasonal. So let's see, pull out your workbook. Let's talk about this some more. All right, so you must consistently email your list year-round. When you do this, people will happily drive out to buy from you, and then they tell their friends, and all of a sudden your farm is growing and thriving. We have people drive up from, we're in Oregon, south of Portland. We have people that drive from San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. You know, they'll drive 18 hours to fill up their trunk full of meat once a year because those are food deserts down there. They get on my email list. They love my emails. They just can't wait to come up and buy meat from us. And we have people drive down from Seattle too. So this is what you will find. I mean, don't go for the market far away. Start with your local market, but you'll be amazed in a few years how you've got people driving from all over to get your stuff. All right. Okay, now your consistent emails, when you send them consistently and you're direct, you know, you're writing to your ideal customer, a very specific person, they will love opening them. And with an inbox full of emails like we all have, they'll jump to yours first. They read it, they love it, they comment on it, they share it, they forward it to their friends, they comment on your blog post, you know, they engage with you all through this. So then when it's time to sell something, you sell out on that product very quickly. Like I said, our turkeys, with one click of an email, I sold out on our turkeys in 48 hours. We have thousands of dollars in sales done that I don't have to spend months and months trying to sell like my turkey farmer friends do. All right, so this starts, again, by getting them on your email list, giving them a free gift, emailing them every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but whatever it is, be consistent about it, and engaging with them, giving them something of value in those emails, and getting them to engage back with you, have a you know, comment and share. So when you have an audience like this, and then you finally offer them something to sell, you're going to sell out. And then they will support you in raising your prices. Like Leah said, her customers are encouraging her to raise her prices. So when you build close relationships with people through email, they support you in becoming financially sustainable. All right, and you can do this. Everyone on here, you guys can do this. I learned it. You can do it. I didn't go to college for any of this. I went to college for communications, not technology. So I learned this stuff. All right, so let's talk about what can you email your list. Recipes, if in our store, recipes using your products, how I do that is lots of times my daughter, who manages the stock inventory, will say, oh, like a couple weeks ago, she says, we have a ton of London broils, Mom. You got to get rid of these London broils. So guess what? I'm going to do a video next week, just a homemade video in my kitchen using a London broil. And you know what? I know from experience, we are going to sell every last one of those London broils within the next week after that video goes out. So a recipe using your products would be great. How-to videos, these can be done on your iPhone even. Inspirational stories, I like to include a couple times a year stories of healing from one of our customers, or I have a customer who she's an ultra athlete. She runs 100 miles at a time in races, which is crazy. I run 2 miles. It feels like 100 miles. I love sharing her story of how our products have helped her recovery rate be like 2 days instead of 2 weeks. Pictures from the farm. So maybe your emails are because you had a new baby cow, you send pictures out. Oh my gosh, people are going to love that and write back and engage. All right, so write some, just before I get to that, make some notes. I'd love for you to write some notes now in your workbook. What kinds of things can you write to your customers about? And again, when you identify your ideal customer and you know what she likes, that will give you more direction on what you're going to write about. Because if she wants to hear about something and you write about it, you're far more likely to connect with everybody. All right, so remember when I showed you how it took my business several years to build an email list of 1,000 people? I started in 2009. I got there in 2015 because I started with my email marketing list in 2012. So it took me several years. When I started, I didn't have a website. I didn't even know what an email list was back in 2009. There was nobody teaching farmers how to do this. I don't think there's anybody teaching farmers today how to do this except me specifically. You can get this information, but not directed towards farmers. So I figured it out on my own, and this took years. Now I've started teaching other farmers these same strategies, and I have seen them turn around their farms in weeks sometimes when they apply them, or, you know, usually it takes more like months. But we have a lot of people who turn their farm around in weeks when they apply these things and learn about and study these things we've talked about today. So you all know, oh, let me show you. Here's an example of one. Kristen is one of our students. She's been working with me for about 6 months, and she was building up the courage to send her first email out of her email marketing software. She has 187 people on her list. She sells a $500 product, a milking machine. And when she sent out that email, she sold one system right away. That was same day. The same day she hit send on her email, she sold a $500 system. And I don't know how many she sold after that, but she has, we hear this, I hear this all the time in my office. I get people emailing me saying, wow, what you taught me worked. I sold out on this or that, you know, when before they used to struggle to try to sell, you know, half of what they produced. Here's another one, Shauna. She's been working with me for 9 months, and she's having great success with her email marketing, and she finally did her first video. She was getting asked a lot because they sell stewing hens, which are their laying hens that are no longer productive, turned them into stewing hens, and they would straggle along sales. So she did a video last week, September 24th. She did her first video in her kitchen, kind of rough. Her son helped edit it for her. I thought it was great because it's what people want to see. And she sold out on her stewing hens in a matter of hours. She made $1,000, over $1,000 in sales in that one email. So these are the emails I get all the time from people. When they finally apply what we teach, they're just blown away by how it works when you apply it. So this is what 1,000 devoted customers can do for you. And again, start with 100. Build a community of people who buy from you. You must engage with them and nurture them, and this will build your profitable farm. All right, now let me, okay, and also this assumes that you're willing to nurture these devoted customers, and that's an art and a skill. Joel Soliton, I'm interviewing him next week. He and I were chatting last week, and he said, you know, one of the biggest problems with farmers and marketing is they don't want to engage and nurture people. They want to farm. That's why we started our farms. We want to work with the animals. We want to work the ground. We want to improve the soil. But you've got to make a commitment to engaging with people somehow. And if you're an introvert, you can totally do this by email. Even if you're not, it's just that's how you want to do it. It's far easier. So you've got to find it within yourself to become a person who can nurture those customers on your email list. And it's why you're here, bottom line, to learn those things that'll help you build a profitable farm. So I would love to challenge you to set a goal of 1,000 devoted email subscribers within the next 2 to 3 years. That's your big goal, but start with, you're going to try to get 100. Let's see, it's October, 100 by February. You know, set a goal for yourself. I've taught what I can here in the last hour, but like I said, I have a training that goes, and we spend probably several hours just on the ideal customer alone. We coach you through identifying that. So it took me years, though, you know, probably 5 years to get profitable on our farm because I had to learn all this through trial and error. We've got a course here that we're going to have the link up here if you want. If you want more, we can help you get there way faster. And let's see, this online course, it's a really, we go really in depth in the foundational marketing tools you need to grow your farm business that supports you and your family. Even having a business you can pass on to your children, you know, how cool would that be? So if you want in on this course, the link is on the right side of your screen, and I'll take questions about that and other things later too. Let me explain it in more detail. We go deeper into the 3 steps I mentioned here. Like I said, we spend hours and hours on those 3 steps in videos, in worksheets and live webinars during the course. I lead you through deciding on and creating a powerful lead magnet. You know, that free gift they get when they sign up to get on your email list. You learn the best ways to keep in touch with them consistently. Also, I want to make sure you know a couple things about this course. We teach an advanced marketing course, and this course, we have made it a prerequisite for that course. So this course, if you buy it, it's a down payment for the advanced course. You also have lifetime access to any of our courses that you purchase. You have access to all the time. So we go through it together, but you can go back and go through any of the videos any time of year. So if you're too busy, when we offer the course, you can buy it and take it later. And the course is refundable if you meet the requirements of getting those refunds. Here's what you get. There's 5 modules, and there are several videos in each module. The modules are released over 5 weeks. We have downloads. We have exercises that help you. You know, we have a couple page exercise, helps you define your ideal customer, for example. We have these downloads along with the videos to help you through the exercises. I just want to go over the modules too. So week 1, we start our course October 12th next week. I think there's 3 or 4 videos in module 1 talking about some foundational things. That's where we spend time defining your ideal customer, because none of your communication or marketing materials or emails or website or signage makes sense until you have your ideal customer defined. It won't be effective until you do that. So that's the first step. You're going to learn how to find out what your customer is struggling with so that you can offer your products as solutions to those struggles when you become her champion problem solver. Module 2 released October 19th. We go into great depth about how to grow your email list even more. That's where we create the perfect lead magnet. And you get lots of feedback. We have a private Facebook group for that course too, so you can get lead feedback from other farmers going through it at the exact same time as you. That opt-in form, you know, the one that said sign up for my newsletter, we go through that and help you get one that's really super effective for you. Because remember, your ideal customer is going to be different than my ideal customer. So none of us are in competition, because every one of us has a little bit different ideal customer. That's why we can have farms right next to each other and both of them sell out and do really good business and have different sets of customers, because they're marketing to a very specific ideal customer. And in module 4, we talk about social media smarts. We talk a little bit about Facebook, but at first you want to focus on your email list. We talk about blogging and 6 blogging essentials, what a blog should contain, and how you get that out to your customers, how you link to it in your emails. Our last module is an intro to email marketing. We pull it all together. You will build your own email marketing plan with our worksheets. You'll walk away with your plan for the year, whether it's once a month. And then, like I said earlier in the training here in the webinar, then I reuse my emails from last year. So I don't come up with a new turkey email every year. I change it up a little bit from last year. So once you do all this, it makes your marketing in the future so much more efficient. And then we teach you also how to turn those subscribers that are on your email list into customers. And these are using, you know, why you write emails the way you do to reach the most people. We got some bonuses in the course too. Invaluable support from farmers all around the world. This is incredible. This is in our private Facebook group just for that course. You're all going through the same thing at the same time. So it's amazing how much we get from each other. Of course, I'm in there every day, and my daughter Hayden's in there. We answer questions. You get feedback on things you create. The number 2 bonus is we're going to do weekly webinars. Those are free, and it's where we take a topic that someone might be struggling with that week, and we jump on a webinar together and go deeper. And you can get individual feedback on that webinar. We can share the screen with you, so you jump on the webinar with me and we go over your idea and maybe help you through it. And you also get accountability when you're in a group like this. We also have a refund policy, but I know this stuff works. This works for me, and it works for all our students who take our course and apply it. So if you want a refund, you've got to show that you did the work and it didn't work for you. So, which is hard to believe, but we do offer that. So it's not where you just buy the course and then tomorrow you get a refund, you decide you didn't want to buy it. You've got to show me. So make sure if you're going to buy it that it's right for you. You've got to show us you did your work, you joined the Facebook group, you attended a webinar, and the webinars are all recorded too. And you must provide your website, your email service info. You can read all this, but make sure that it's something you're really super interested in before you buy it, because you've got to show us the work to get the refund. And also, like I said, it's a down payment towards our next year's course. So you'll get a coupon code before you buy that course to reduce it by that much. The other thing is, like I said, on all our courses, you have lifetime access, which means you can go through it with us, or you can access it when you have time. So when we release the emails on a Wednesday, if you're too busy to look at them, you can look at them, or you're out of town, you just look at them when you have a chance. And then each time we teach the course, you get to take it for free, and we update it. So this technology, when I taught this course last year, we recommended a different email marketing software, and then MailerLite came out and it's better. So we updated our information to do that. And so we include you get all the updates. When you sign up now, you get everything in the future for free. And I'm with you every step of the way. So it is a it can be a self-study course. You can buy it and go through it at your pace. But I have spent years training as a specialist in adult learning, and I'm doing everything possible, everything that I know of to help you get success from this course. And that is things like being in the private Facebook group every day, answering questions, supporting you on the webinar, and just diving deeper into the material rather than just giving it to you here, good luck. We walk through it with you actively during the 5 weeks, and then you can take it anytime again after that. So there's truly nothing else like this course. We're going that extra mile because I am 100% confident that if you apply these strategies, you'll see results. So like I said, if you're ready, you can click. Other questions on there too I need to answer? Great. You can switch the screen over to me if you want. You can buy here. You can ask questions. Registration's open till next Tuesday because we start next Wednesday. And Hayden just got me back on the screen. Oh, it's funny, except I can't see the, well, I can't, but she's going to highlight the questions for me. Just a second. There we go. Okay. Okay, I don't see it. Linda, when will the next course be available? The advanced course we teach every spring. It typically starts right around first part of March. So we'll probably run through this one a second time, January or February, leading up to the advanced course that starts in March. And will this course help with building a strong farmers market? Yes, Catherine, this does. So when you have online relationship marketing skills and you get all your farmers market customers onto your email list, they are getting your emails every 2 weeks. So when I go to the farmers market, we have a big one. There's probably 10 vegetable vendors. And of all those 10, depending on where I park, one is closer than the other. There is only one vegetable vendor that I go to no matter where I park and how busy it is. And you know why? It's because I'm on their email list and they send me these great emails regularly and they keep in touch with me. And I have a relationship with them because I read about them. I feel like I know them. So I go to that one vendor, even though there's a whole bunch of competition. So absolutely, online email marketing, relationship-centered marketing helps no matter where you're selling your products, even if you're not there, believe it or not. If you've got employees at the farmer's market and you're sending out the emails, yes, they'll still connect with you. All right, Ben, what is the easiest way to work your farm Facebook, which is tied to your... I'm not sure if do you have a separate farm Facebook page? Because you can't use your personal Facebook page for advertising your farm products. They will they won't show your post to anybody, and eventually they'll start deleting your posts. So if you have a separate farm Facebook page, you don't want to sell. Social media is not for selling, so you don't sell, you don't advertise on your Facebook page. That is for posting for instance, your blog posts or your recipes or your things you're going to give away, or you're sharing on our Facebook page. Recently, we shared an article by a researcher who showed that raw milk heals ear infections, and our Facebook followers absolutely loved it. So you're sharing things on your Facebook page that your followers love. You're not advertising to them, or you won't get shown to very many people.
Jerica.
Oh, and Catherine, yes, I'll say a quick, Catherine has a good question there. Jerica, I have a lot of devoted customers who do not check email regularly. They want texts. What to do? That's interesting. I would want to know how many. You can actually do group text, but Jerica, I would, maybe pop into the Profitable Farm Facebook group. I know you're over there. I've seen you over there. So jump over there and give me a little more information that maybe we don't have time for today. Like, because most people, it just makes me wonder what you're selling and where you are. And they don't have to check it regularly. People they'll read one of my emails, they'll check email once a week, and it's fine. So, give me a little more information over in our Facebook group. All right, Sunny, you can have a fan page on Facebook. Yes, you can. And again, you don't want to advertise on your fan page, or it won't be shown to people. Facebook, social media is not for selling. People use it to sell, and it's not productive. It's for building relationship and getting them on it's a tool to get them on your email list. And that's where you build relationship with them and eventually sell to them. All right, Van, thank you. I appreciate it. One of us crashed. Van, I assume you mean the webinar. It's still going on our end. Catherine, I'm the president of a farmer's market, and I'm asking if the course will help bring customers in for all vendors. That's a hard one. Yes, if you're engaging with the people who come to the farmer's market and they're getting an email from a farmer's market, absolutely. So you would market it that way. It's more like an event. Absolutely. I think farmers markets should be doing this. I would love to see this. I would love to get an email from my farmers market. I get one like once a year saying it's going to open, and that's it. So definitely, if you're in charge of that, and if I got an email regularly, I'd be far more likely to show up at that market. We have tons of markets around us, and I kind of randomly go to different ones. So yes, that's a great idea. It would work. Relationship-centered marketing works for any business or service you have. I teach it to farmers for the farm perspective, but if you have a service business, I use the same thing for my 3-Cal marketing. I'm using all the same marketing techniques for my online training courses as I use for my farm selling meat, eggs, and milk. So I use all the same techniques. If you're a lawyer, a dentist, an eye doctor, an accountant, all those services, they use these same techniques used for all of that. So, same thing, finding your ideal customer. Okay, so Coley says, do you handle marketing for a crop harvested once per year the same you would say milk or eggs? Yes, so this is a big challenge. A lot of farmers will say, well, I can't do online marketing, once a month because I only have hazelnuts in the fall, and that's it, and we're done. No, people, it works phenomenally for that. You just keep in touch with them once a month when you're not selling things, and maybe more often when you are. But absolutely, if you have one harvest once a year, it is definitely workable, and I think mandatory in today's world for that. Amy, thank you. I appreciate that. Presented the information clearly. I feel like this is an important piece of the marketing puzzle. Thank you, Amy. I hope we see you over in the Facebook group too, because these discussions continue over there for free. We do have our paid courses, but 98% of what I teach, I think probably 99% is free. So there's so much you can get for free. And then things where we use a lot more advanced technology, of course, we charge for. Randy, you're welcome. I appreciate it. Ben says, is there a simple app that will collect emails via your smartphone? Well,
It depends on which service you use.
yeah, it depends on which service. You mean like MailerLite versus, yeah.
Or you could just pull up the website.
Yeah, what I do, Ben, is I pull up my website. I pull up shampooycreamery.com, and my email box pops up and they sign up right there. So just go to your website to get that information. Thank you, Casey. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your comments. Stephanie, what percentage of your time is spent on marketing versus farming? I get about 2 half days a week in the office where I am marketing. Now I have more office work where I'm doing the accounting and all that, but I try to take Tuesdays and Thursdays, about 2 4-hour blocks, because remember, I'm running 2 businesses. I run our farm and I run my online marketing, these courses too. So I'm writing double the blog posts and emails. So I do 8 hours a week for me, but you could do it less. You can also batch it into 1 day a month. And then the longer you do this, like I said, you're going to reuse some of your marketing materials from the previous year. Like if you're like us, Thanksgiving turkeys only come once a year. Our eggs, I only market our eggs in the spring. We sell them year round, but we have way too many in the spring. So I only spend the spring talking about them, right around Easter. So I'll use those similar blog posts from year to year. So your marketing will become more efficient as the months go on. Jeanette says, if you email once a month, how do you let your customers know what is available each week? Okay, if your inventory is changing every week, is like I'm wondering what you are. If you're a CSA and your vegetables change every single week, well then during the CSA season, you may need to email them every week, and then in the off season, drop back to once a month. And one of our graduates of our marketing course is just that. She owns a CSA and she does just that. She emails them once a week during the season, once a month in the off season. Yes, the private Facebook group is called The Profitable Farm with Charlotte Smith. Just request to join. We'll let you in there. Lots of great information. Thank you, Sunny. I appreciate it, everybody. This has been great having you all here. Catherine would love to have you. It would be an honor to work with any of you in our course. It starts next week. Very excited. I'm doing an interview of Joel Soliton next week, too, that's going to be emailed out to our email list. So be sure you're signed up for that. And in our Facebook group, we're asking you guys, if you have any questions you want me to ask Joel about marketing your farm, put them in there. I mean, I know how I would answer all of them, but to hear his perspective would be great. So I've got a post going in our private Facebook group where I'm going to take along a few of the best questions. Thank you. Just thank you, everyone. Any more questions? Okay. I don't see any more questions. If you have them. Okay, Stephanie, have you ever considered a lending library in your farm store? Deposits required to borrow. I don't, because in my life, well, you could do that. You know what? I do have some wise traditions in there, the Weston Price magazines. And if someone has a particular issue, Hashimoto's, and there's a wise traditions on Hashimoto's, I just give them to you. I think that's a great idea, though. You need a deposit because people do not return books, so they can pay a deposit. Definitely, I think that's a super idea. My personal farm store, we're too busy to do something like that. I do have books there that we pull down and help people, but I figure if I'm going to give someone a book, I'm probably never going to see it again. Van, thank you. I really appreciate everybody's comments. Just thank you. This is great. Okay, Michelle, is there a software available that would utilize text messaging similar to the email software that you recommended? Well, it has to be, no, it has to be tied to a website legally for spam reasons. So you can text groups, but you're going to miss out on a lot of marketing if you just do text and not email. And my experience is most people eventually, the people that want your emails eventually open them. So what is the website for the farm? My farm, Christine, is shampooingcreamery.com. Hayden will type it in there. And then, of course, our marketing is 3cowmarketing.com. Joshua, you're welcome. I appreciate it. Ben, do you have a seasonal blueprint for your farm store? Yes, a seasoned blueprint. Yes, definitely. And what do you mean, marketing? Do you think he means marketing blueprint? Yes, I do. I have what's called an editorial calendar, and we give you a copy of that a blank one and work with you in the course through creating your own editorial calendar. And it's what I'm going to write about in January, February, March, April, May, you know, so.
Layout, like an actual blueprint.
Oh, a blueprint, seasoned blueprint for my farm store. It's a square. It's just a square, and it's got freezers. If any of you have seen Joel Salatin's farm store, it's very similar to his. I did not know that till I visited his. It's got a counter, and it's got a table where we have some other things we sell, wine and books and things, and then it's got a whole wall full of freezers and refrigerators with the meat there. Okay, Michelle would do both. Some of my customers use texting over email. Yeah, you can't mass text people. You can, you know, your marketing information, it's not going to work. But I text customers, you know, like, hey, we saved your dozen eggs for you today or something like that. But if you're talking about marketing through text, you know, that's not going to, I don't think any place is set up for email type marketing through text. Yeah, it's not, you're not going to engage with your customers. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. And Ben, your wish list of items to plan for. Is he following up with the layout? Oh, got it. Okay. Freezers, save your money for freezers. I forget, Ben is a CSA and a few other things. So coolers, oh my gosh. I think refrigerators, freezers, and electricity are some of our largest expenses. Oh, Jeanette, my interview with Joel Salatin. If you're in the private Facebook group, it'll be there. It's going to be sent out to my email list. You are on that email list. You're going to get it. I do it on the 15th. We have to edit it. So it's probably going to come out towards the end of October. And you'll see it. I'm sure you'll see it on social media. The Legal Defense Fund will post it on their Facebook page. It'll be on my website and in my private page. So you'll see it out there. I can't wait to talk to him, as a matter of fact. We're both speaking at a conference. And so he and I have been chatting about our interview too, but super excited. Great, thank you, Michelle. Okay, any more questions? Linda, can't sign up today. Do you have a cutoff date? Yes, Tuesday, registration closes. It's on my website, 3cowmarketing.com. You'll also be sent a link tomorrow morning and more information about the course too. If you can't sign up today, you're going to get 2 or 3 more notices about it, and then that's all you'll get about the course. And the video replay will be emailed to you within a couple hours. You know, for sure by the end of today, you'll get the replay so you can listen again. Charles, you're welcome. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's just been wonderful having such a great group of people. You're welcome, Jeanette. All right. Any more questions real quick? Otherwise, I don't have to go, but I'll jump off. And so if you have more questions, type them in there. Otherwise, I can't wait to see you guys in the Facebook group, The Profitable Farm, or on my website, you know, on blog posts or something. Send questions. You can post questions in the Facebook group or email them too if you need to. All right. You're welcome, Michelle. Okay, everyone. Look for the replay, look for more great stuff, and you'll get a couple emails about the course, and I will see you in another webinar someday too. And I'm looking for the stop button down here. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great day.